94.9. You are listening to the voice of 𝐿 and SAMIES. So good on the program this lovely Monday morning. Today, day 11, today in the 8th month of the year 2025. But of course, one place it's easier to start from today, and that's the aftermath of the game that went down there at the Wembley Stadium, where Crystal Palace defeated Liverpool 3-2 on penalty shootout after playing out 2-2 at the end of regular time. We all know the proceedings of that the Community Shield Cup, which definitely is bringing together the winners of the English Premier League and also winners of the English FA Cup for the 2024-2025 football season together to face off in what is termed that's the kickstart to the 2025-2026 football season there in England. It has been a tradition, and of course for Liverpool, they lost yesterday, but it was the best of night for Jeremy Frimpong, the Dutch defender, who scored his first goal for Liverpool. But for 𝐾𝐃, well, another best of performance also for him, where he was unable to get on target in that encounter. But talk about the doggedness of Crystal Palace amidst all the conversations of them missing out on European places for this season. Remember that they ended the automatic right to play in UEFA competition, that's the UEFA Europa League, after winning the English FA Cup last season. But as it is at this point in time, we don't know where the final pusher would be for Crystal Palace. But on the show this morning, we join our partners, the BBC, to take a listen to the words of the coaches and also reactions from the game that went down yesterday, as well as we'll discuss some other sporting stories where we have the D Tigers in the news. We'll talk about updates from the interesting world of table tennis. Matthew Kuti, well, this man has surpassed Olajide Omotayo, that's to become the second-ranked Nigerian. We'll talk about table tennis there in the world. And then we also discuss about Oluwatobiloba Amusan and the rest of the team, where they are pushing for a final Diamond League push. And then we'll talk about the Cincinnati Open 1000 Masters event. Games went down in the early hours of today. Games went down late last night. And definitely, it's all about the results from that front, as we also take a look at what we can expect later this week in the exciting world of sports. On Wednesday, we would have that's the Super Cup final between Paris Saint-Germain and Tottenham Football Club. Remember that these two were the top winners of UEFA club competitions last season, the UEFA Champions League and also the UEFA Europa League. But right now, let's join our partners, the BBC, to take a listen to what they have for us as regards to the reaction from the game that went down yesterday there at the Wembley Stadium between Crystal Palace and Liverpool Football Club.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm John Wilkinson at the BBC Sports Centre. Crystal Palace have added more silverware to their trophy cabinet after their FA Cup success last season, and it's a first ever Community Shield win, beating Liverpool. They had goalkeeper Dean Henderson to thank for 2 penalty saves in the shootout after the match had finished 2-2. The Liverpool debutants, 𝐔𝐈𝐒 and Jeremy Frimpong, scored for the Premier League champions, but Jean-Philippe Mateta and 𝐿 Sarr twice levelled for Palace. Here is the Crystal Palace boss, Oliver Glasner.
I'm really pleased with the performance today. So I think after the 90 minutes, it was a game where both teams were more or less on the same level, and this makes us proud against Liverpool, against the champion of the Premier League.
Not an ideal start for Liverpool then before Friday's Premier League opener against Bournemouth. Here's the Liverpool boss, Arne Slot.
Large parts of the game I was quite pleased with what I saw. I think we were able to create more than we usually do against a team that defends so low as Palace do. But yeah, conceding 2 if you're twice a goal up and then in the end conceding 2 goals is too much.
Amongst the day's pre-season friendlies, Chelsea hammered AC Milan 4-1, with new signings Liam Delap scoring twice and João Pedro continuing his excellent goal-scoring form. Bournemouth, meanwhile, are making moves in the transfer market. They're set to sign the French centre-back Bafodé Diakité from Lille for just under £35 million. He would become Bournemouth's second most expensive signing ever after Evan Nielsen. They're also on the verge of selling centre-back Ilya Zabani to Paris Saint-Germain for £55 million plus add-ons. And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
All right, there you heard the update from the English Premier League. That's the BBC Premier League, I beg your pardon, as regards the game that went down yesterday between Crystal Palace and the Liverpool Football Club. Yes, it's definitely a good outing for Crystal Palace, while their manager Oliver Glasner, is not open to settle for less after the result in which they got against the Liverpool yesterday. He wants to bolster the side. Remember that for the future of Mark Guehi, the captain of the side, who was unable to see through the last 4-5 minutes of that encounter, he was replaced by the penalty shot stopper winner in the course of that game. 𝐒𝐕𝐄, who also missed the spot kick in that encounter. Remember that their future with Crystal Palace is not clear yet, as they are eyeing a move outside. That's Crystal Palace. For Mark Guehi, maybe he would join Liverpool. For 𝐒𝐕𝐄, is he going to join Arsenal Football Club? We have how many days? That's 29 days thereabouts to know what the future of these guys would be, as the transfer window will be shut at the 31st of this month. But let's move away from football stories and talk about basketball stories now. And that's talking about the Nigerian basketball, where Nigeria, they have confirmed the final 12-man basketball squad for the FIBA Men's AfroBasket Championship in Angola, with interim head coach Mohamed Abdulrahman set to lead the team. And the roster includes NBA guard Josh Okogie, defensive specialist Kodrichi Akubundu Eyogi, veteran forward Talib Zana, winger Stan Okoye, and guard Mike Nuga. Also making the cut, we have a forward Divine Eke, center that's Christian Mekolu, power forward Martin Sigbanu, and Angel Simeon. We also have Emmanuel Omogbo, Iken Wamu, and Caleb Agada, all on the 12-man shortlist. And the announcement also meant that Fayemi, Karim Joseph, and Mohamed Abdusalam have been dropped from the provisional squad, while Peter Olisemeka was excluded after being declared ineligible. For the D Tigers, they will compete in Group B alongside Tunisia, Madagascar, and Cameroon, and they begin their campaign against Madagascar on August 13 before taking on Tunisia and Cameroon in their final 2 group matches. But you want to ask, you want to know, well, what's the preparation for the D Tigers of Nigeria? Same old story where we talk about Nigerian sports. But the National Sports Commission, they've charged the D Tigers of Nigeria to go for gold. Speaking before the team's departure, the Director General of the National Sports Commission, Honorable Bukola Olakpade, charged the players to give their all for the Champions Medal. Well, while Honorable Olakpade is away on unofficial duty in United Kingdom, he ensured that he relayed his support to the team, expressing his good wishes and reassuring them for the commission, assuring them of the commission's backing as they represent the nation in Angola. Well, let's see what the boys would bring back from Angola. Remember that the ladies went to Ivory Coast and, of course, came home with the title 5 in a row. Well, definitely a stellar performance for them. And then quickly talking about some table tennis stories at this point. Matukuti has emerged as Nigeria's second highest ranked male table tennis player in the world, overtaking 2019 African Games champion Olajide Omotayo in the latest International Table Tennis Federation's world ranking released. That's for week 32 of the 2025 season. But you want to know why this happened? This was because of the stellar performance of Matthew Kuti in the course of the Lagos Table Tennis Sport Festival. Well, really, he did so well alongside the likes of Abdul Basit, Abdul Fatai. We also have Quadri Atunwo, and then we have Agumpiade. All of these guys have fared so well for Team Nigeria, the West Africa Regional Championships, the Africa Youth Championship, the Africa Youth Cup, and then the WTT Contender Series, in which went down there in Lagos. But then we also talk about updates from the world of athletics, where world record holder Oluwatobiloba Amusan, she will headline the challenge at the 12th leg of the Diamond League in Silesia, Poland. Well, as for Nigerian athletes continue their push to secure qualification for the season-ending finals. Well, let's see how that also goes for Team Nigeria. But quickly, we talk about this one where it's definitely updates from the world of tennis. The second rounds of the Cincinnati Open featured some of the top names in tennis. Carlos Alcaraz playing his first match since falling in the Wimbledon final, and he survived the escape from Damien Zamor 6-1, 2-6, 6-3. He won. And for world number 2 and the French Open champion, 𝐃𝐈𝐒 who won the Cincinnati Open in 2023, as she made quick work of Xin Wang 6-3, 6-3 to advance to the round of 32. Well, you talk about the updates set to go down later today. Arina Sabalenka will face off in the second match of the day session on the center court against Emma Raducanu. And Sabalenka is 2-love all-time against Raducanu, with the most recent meeting there in the Wimbledon. And then Yannick Sinner will face off against Gabriel Diallo, and top-ranked American Taylor Fritz faces off against Lorenzo Sonego of Italy. But you talk about, as all of these ones is just a preparation also for what? That's the US Open, the final major Grand Slam of the year 2025. But this is how far we can go on today's edition of the show. We'll come later in the afternoon to discuss more sporting stories, making the round, stand the exciting world of sport, and a reaction from the game that went down yesterday between Liverpool and Crystal Palace. I am SAMIES, your sports captain. I said you enjoy the rest of the day, and